Before going to the third part of the program, I'd like to just take a moment to look at the goals of the pilot in terms of the technology itself. What we're looking for in the pilot is one, from the student in the classroom, student access to an integrated learning system. Two, student-teacher access to interactive video. Three, student-teacher access to telecommunications. Four, student-teacher access to district-wide information sources. Throughout the evening, I've tried to emphasize the experimental nature of the pilot program. While it's taken a considerable time and effort to get to this point, it's just the beginning for the Technology Planning Committee charged with the responsibility of proposing a 5-year plan for the use of technology in the Winchester schools. We're fortunate to have considerable expertise on this volunteer committee made up of residents throughout the town. I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge these people. If you're here, maybe you could raise your hand and read your name. Jack Korf, Paul Fitzgerald, Don Sherry, Thomas Vinson, Patricia Shea, Tom Drewitz, Bonnie Nolan, Holly Shepherdson, Judy Avery, James Hayes, Tom Grosvenor, Jim Corral, and Ron Regan Drive. Clearly, we're at a critical junction. Where do we go from here? The man with the answers is Steve Kelly from the Center for Educational Leadership and Technology. Self was involved in planning and building Digital School of the Future in Revere, Mass. Currently, they're working on a $400 million initiative in the state of Kentucky. Very happy to have Self as a partner in this project. I'd like to introduce Steve Kelly.
That introduction. To me, it's amazing. This is what I'm using after all of this. You can't imagine more tried and true technology than overhead projectors. But I wanted to talk to you about interactive technology in education, and this is truly interactive. It's the beginning of a new era. You've seen some of the things already, and you see a lot of what the future can be. And for some people, this is invigorating. Other people, it's somewhat scary. And one of the things I want to give you the message today is this is a technology that people like you, people like the teachers, like the students, like the administrators, can learn to master with a little bit of training and effort on their part. It's nothing that they're going to be overwhelmed with. And two, it gives the teachers, particularly, and the students, more control over their learning than they've ever had in the past. And to me, that's really the exciting part of this technology. You know, it can be used in a lot of different ways. Technology can, and I'm talking in the broadest sense now. Everything from problem solving to try to encourage creativity in the students, to get people to be able to present things in public. And where we're featuring on tonight is some of the computer technology and the multimedia technology. Some of the instructional learning systems, such as from Jostens and YCAP, already are able to bring in a lot of different components into the learning. With that, you can merge in text, video, images, and sound. And this really is able to grip the students. And I mentioned that this is a way of putting people in control of technology. The question I ask is, who's in control of what the students learn now? And by and large, it's teachers to some extent. It's primarily book publishers and other people who bring in curriculum from the outside. This gives the classroom teacher the ability, say on a CD-ROM, to some of the book publishers are beginning to put whole books on CD-ROM. So if a teacher wants a chapter from one book, they can take it from the CD-ROM. If they want to intersperse that with a clip on something that came on PBS last night, that would be a very exciting way of pulling that in. And with some of the authoring systems and some of the capabilities that are coming out now, teachers would be able to control this. At the high school level, students would be able to do their own productions and do their work with some of the cable TV people to come up with film clips and their own interactive presentations of what they've found in class. This whole area, I guess you turn it that way. You probably can't read this from the back, I'll read it. It says, while the computer in the classroom is often occupied center stage, other technologies are equally important. Applied technology can accomplish much, but only when it supplements and complements the capacity of the teacher. Technology is not a replacement for or an alternative to professionals in the classroom. This comes from the Governor's 1991 Education Report. I think that's a very important thing. You see all this technology. This isn't licensed to get rid of all the teachers. This is to supplement and enrich the learning environment for your kids. There's a lot of change. Even a few years ago, there was reading, writing, and arithmetic were the basics that were taught in school. But today, with worldwide competition, there's need for a lot greater, for a new set of basics in schools. And that is, we need to develop within all the students the ability to access the data they need to make decisions, to be able to analyze it using higher order skills, and then be able to effectively communicate what they've learned to their teacher and to other students. And this provides a lot of those capabilities. We see, and it's been stressed over and over, that this is a pilot. You don't expect to see all of this in every classroom tomorrow. But we see in not too many years, classrooms that will have multimedia workstations. The teacher would be able to give presentations. The multimedia would be hooked into a video system that would go throughout the entire building. It would be hooked into the cable TV system. You would be able to have access to data that was in your school or in other schools throughout the school district. And it would really enliven the way lessons were presented to the students and give students the ability to interact more with the teacher and do a lot of things on their own that the teacher would not be able to do for every student. As we go through all this technology, we don't want to lose sight that all this technology really must support the mission of the schools, which is, as everyone realized, provide quality education to all students. This is a component in being able to do it. Some of the innovative instructional labs and video that you have here, this is just a component in a broader effort to enrich the students and improve the education of the students through technology. A lot of you may say, but we already have a lot of technology in the schools. But what very often happens in the schools is you have little islands of technology throughout. You have maybe an instructional lab someplace where the students there can't talk to students, can't send mail, can't converse with students in another lab in the same building or in another classroom in the same building, much less across the whole school district, where you have word and document processing. In one area it might be a Macintosh, in another it's MS-DOS machine, and those are not compatible. And even if they were, you didn't have a network to be able to connect them together. And so on with a whole variety of things, from financial accounting, student records, curriculum management. What's needed is an approach to planning so that we can take something like this in its pilot And after it's been worked through, evaluated, and decided whether this is something you would like to incorporate throughout the entire school, those decisions should be part of a planning process that is worked on for all the major stakeholders, all the people who are concerned about education. And that's the administrators, parents, teachers, students. And such a process starts with planning, and it brings in technology to be able to support the teaching and learning that we're trying to accomplish in the schools. And also there's a lot of change that's involved, new ways of doing things, and that needs help in terms of teachers and administrators and staff in learning the new ways. So training is a very important component in the change process. What we envision, or what we recommend, is that people try to think as holistically as possible when they go into a planning process. And again, I apologize that the screen's fairly small. When we say there's a variety of functions that should be addressed in the planning process and in any system that results as part of that. One of it is a communications network that allows you to communicate with people in all buildings. This can be done through the video network that you've got, through data communications such as electronic mail, electronic conferences, bulletin boards that can be available throughout the entire school district. Support in an integrated fashion for people with Macintoshes and PCs and the wide variety of things that administrators need, word processors, spreadsheets, but also some of the same tools that students will be needing in their courses as they cope with the technology. Other functions such as library management. I'd really love for a student to be, say, in high school who's working on a research project to find out is that book he's, what is a good source for what he's investigating or she's investigating, and have the system search the high school library, or if it's not available there, to go to the town library. In a system that we've been talking about, where you've got a cable TV network that has the possibility of linking all the major institutions in town, from the town hall to the libraries, police, all using a common network. Such things as the student searching the town library is a real possibility. Administrative computing, that's the normal keeping track of students' attendance, grades, personnel management, etc. Instructional technology, which is some of the stuff we're talking about here, and the curriculum management. The curriculum is the key, it's kind of the crown jewels of any school system. What is it that we teach? How do we teach it? At what levels? And there are a lot of computerized systems that can help people rethink different ways of delivering courses and be able to assist in that delivery. And all of that's part of communications system. All that would be tied together in our mind with a network that would go into every classroom and office in all the schools. In it, you would have a couple of connections that could be used for high-speed data, telephone systems, or video, all coming out of the same outlet. If you wanted to be able to hook up to, see whatever's on CNN on a given broadcast, or I don't know if Winchester's a member of MCET, which is the Star Schools program. They would be able to bring in a live broadcast during the day and would be able to have telephone talkback to the person giving the instruction. Just as we were talking to, I guess, the person who's now in the back of the room, they, over telephones, would be able to talk back to instructors who are teaching them real live television. So it's a very exciting area. And again, I think one of the ways you get there is through planning. There's more to networking than just hooking things up. You need to be able to plan for it, think it out well, take some of the pilots, take what's good from it, and expand it expand it to all of the schools so all of the students can benefit, or see what didn't work quite right so you can figure out it and improve it and get it right. Because it's really important that we be able to provide the best education for our students.
Thank you, Steve. In closing, I'd like to thank many people who have helped us in developing and conceptualizing the pilot. I'd like to thank Mark Medallia and Ruby Buford from Digital. Mark has been a tremendous help right from the beginning. Ed Thompson and his technical assistants have been very timely and thorough at performing Continental's work on the project. I'd like to thank the principals who have given help and guidance from the beginning, as has our acting superintendent, Bob Fitzgerald. I'd like to thank the teachers who took on the challenge of the VO pilot, Helen Clark, April Dearman, Carol Romboli, and Christine Kelly. Finally, I'd like to thank the school committee for their support. I'd like to invite you to go up to the classrooms on the second and third levels to see some students actually working with the integrated learning system. If I could make a suggestion, have the people on the left side maybe go up to the second level, and people on the right side who are interested go up to the third level. There are 4 classrooms. Thank you for coming tonight. We truly appreciate your interest and support.
Before you leave, I'd like to thank Dr. Sabelli for all the work he's put in. Before we officially adjourn our most pleasant school committee meeting we've had in months, I'd like to thank everyone for attending. And I was naive in coming to the meeting tonight. I had no idea of the caliber of talent and representation from the different communities that would be here. Nothing is more embarrassing than putting something on and not having anyone show up. I'd like to thank everybody in the room for their caring of what's going on. And I would suggest, for what it's worth, that we do have now, as these people have shown us, the technology, the capability to do some amazing things. And as fascinating and as much work as it is to bring this hardware to the point where it is, I think the toughest struggle now for us as a community is, first of all, to review what application we can use. And Dr. Sabelli, with a lot of work, is well on the way to that, especially at the elementary level. But also as a community to commit to work together. I've seen, from what I've seen of this project, the toughest part is bringing all the different factions, all the different elements together, whether it be elected town boards such as the Cable TV Committee has been instrumental in this, or private industry volunteering their time here to help us out with our equipment in many instances. And I would hope as a community, as we review what we can use, what type of equipment, what type of software we can use, that we would also stay working together as a group to bring this to fruition, because it is very exciting. And I think we, thanks to Dr. Sabelli, got a step and a half ahead of a lot of other communities. I'd hate to see that drop now. So if we could continue to work together, I'd like to thank everybody for what's happened, and this has been fantastic. Thank you all for coming.
The student can go to access the World Book and come back and bring in information from the World Book Encyclopedia right into the writing class and incorporate that. In our writing activity, we probably but they not sure, I guess I know. Writing means the topic is assigned. We all are ready. Of course. But she knows exactly what to do. Yeah. Wonderful. We have children lab. And basically what we've always said is that we try to encourage the students to use higher order thinking. So we try to have students just students be able to go on by themselves. They should be able to move on. They shouldn't be held back because